Welcome back to Full Timeout, your favorite sports podcast hosted by your boy AJ2K. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you see something a little different besides the background. See a little device right here. You see a new microphone. Lights up all different colors. I haven't figured out how to get it to be one color yet. I'm going to have to work on that, figure that out. This is my first time recording with it. But I'm excited, man. Got a new mic. Hopefully I sound better. Hopefully I sound more clear. Last couple episodes and a couple podcasts I was featured on didn't sound how I needed it to sound, man. Last podcast I hopped on, man, the sound was all patchy. And I'm not a fan of that, man. I'm not a fan of that. Pride myself on sounding good, pride myself on knowing what I'm talking about. And I pride myself on sounding professional. Didn't sound professional recently, so I had to make amends. I had to make a correction. I had to fix some things. So now we got a new mic. We got a new mic, man, and I'm excited, bro. I'm very excited. Very, very. Where is it? There y'all go. There y'all go. I had to get the cheering going because I'm like, yeah, man. I need the people excited for what's to come. I need the people excited to hear some better quality. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully it'll make the analysis even better. Hopefully it makes what I say even better. We don't need much tweaking in the analysis department. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully it makes the whole show and every other podcast that I'm featured on sound much better. Again, welcome back to Full Time Out, your favorite sports podcast. Got a ton to get into today, man. I got the Lakers in the background because I got to talk about AD signing this extension. So we got to talk about that. We got to talk about the NFL some because the season is about to start. Preseason has already begun. Hall of Fame game has already happened. We got some more games coming up this Thursday, heading into the weekend. As far as preseason is concerned, as we stand today, as I record August 7th, we are exactly 1 month away. 1 month away from the start of the regular season. And I couldn't be more excited. So with that being said, I want to talk about NFL honors today as well. I want to give some super early predictions on who I believe will win, the MVP, the Defensive Player of the Year, which I don't have jotted down yet. I didn't finish that prediction. I might have to make that live. Coach of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. I also want to touch on the NFL's top 100 list because if you're a fan of what I do with ESPN, Taxi Squad, then you already kind of heard me go on a mini rant about the NFL's top 100 list. I have a lot to say about it. I didn't really get off everything I wanted to say. So, I might have to finish that off in today's episode and really dive deep into the nitty gritty, into the details of the things that I wanted to get off my chest with that. And if we have time towards the end of the episode, I want to talk a little boxing with you guys. Now, I'll be the first to admit I am not a boxing analyst. Again, I am not a boxing analyst. When I talk boxing, first off, I feel like I know a little bit more about UFC than I do about boxing. But when I talk boxing, I'm talking from a pure fan's perspective. You know what I'm saying? A pure fan's perspective. I'm not Max Kellerman. I'm not somebody that's been in the octagon before either. I'm just somebody that's watching as a pure fan. So you will get a pure fan perspective, which is different than what I've given you guys on the show so far. A lot of the things I've given you guys on this show have been pure analysis, have been opinion mixed with analysis. This is more so fandom. I just want to talk as a fan. Take the analysis out, take the nitty gritty out. I just want to talk to you guys as a fan of boxing because I want to talk to you guys a bit about the Spence and Crawford fight, which I wasn't able to do last week. I want to talk to you guys about the ESPN top 10 pound for pound list because I got some issues with that as a fan. As a fan, I have some issues with that. So I want to get into that as well if I have time. But again, I got the Lakers in the background. So I got to talk about Anthony Davis really quick. Anthony Davis signed, let's get the numbers correct here, a 3-year, $186 million extension with the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, listen, when you brought back the core that you brought back this past season, when you go and bring back D'Lo, you go and re-sign Reeves, you go and re-sign Hachimura, you bring basically the same team back with a couple of tweaks, getting Gabe Vincent and getting Taurean Prince and, a couple of other guys that you brought in. you kind of expect AD to be brought back as well. Obviously, he was still under contract for this upcoming year as well. He wasn't a free agent, but ideally, you want to lock him up for the future. My thing with this, though, is the obvious. It's the obvious, man. Anthony Davis, is he going to be right during this extension? And when I say right, I not only mean healthy, I mean productive on the basketball floor. Is he going to be there? Is he going to be available? When you look at Anthony Davis' career as a Laker, just his career as a Laker, the injuries you cannot ignore. The injury history you just can't ignore. He got to the Lakers in the 2019-2020 season. He played 62 games that year. We won a championship that year. Next season, 36 games. Next season, 40 games. And then this past season, he gave us 56 games. But if you look at the amount of games that's been played, the 2019 season to the 2020 season, the year we won the championship, 62 games, he's on the floor. We're a contender. We win a championship. This past year, he played 56 games. Obviously, you want him to play even more than 56 games, but when you're Anthony Davis and you have the injury history that you have, you'll take 56 because even 56 games is enough. It's enough. Pair it with LeBron and his health. Pair it with the team around him. Even 56 games is enough for us to contend for a championship. The Los Angeles Lakers were just in the Western Conference Finals this past year with Anthony Davis not missing a single postseason game. It is clear when the Lakers aren't the Lakers. It is in large part because Anthony Davis is not available to play. Now, I was a major proponent and I was a major guy that came out and said, hey, look, I wouldn't mind trading AD for the right deal. That's just how I felt. Given the injury history, given at times his lackluster performances, his lackluster effort, it feels like. It's like some days he's there, some days he's not. We know about the playoff history this past year where he had 41 games. Then the next game he might have 10-5. Then the next game he might have 35-12. Then the game after that he might have 13-2 on 5 shots. You know what I mean? Like we know how that goes. As a Laker fan, you get tired of that. As a Laker fan, you get tired of that. When you're used to dealing with the likes of Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, dating back to the greats where you had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic Johnson. I wouldn't allow for that time, but just throwing that out there. My time was the Shaq and Kobe era, and then the Kobe era with Gasol and them. You're not used to that type of, I don't even know. You're not used to that type of production, that type of hit or miss production. Either he is balling or he is cold and not even playing aggressively. At times, we talk about how great he is defensively because he's amazing defensively. He's one of the best defenders in the league. You could make the argument he is the best defender in the league, even though Triple J just won a Defensive Player of the Year award. You can make the argument there's nobody more important in the league on the defensive side of the ball to his team than Anthony Davis. You can make that argument. But even at times when he didn't have it going offensively, I personally saw a slippage on the defensive side of the ball as well. I was extremely disappointed in his performances against Jokic. And yes, I understand Jokic is Jokic, but I went into that playoff series thinking in my head, look, we got a shot because not only do we have Anthony Davis to score the basketball, we have Anthony Davis to defend their best player. And Jokic, he gave him a tough time all series. Let's just be honest. He gave him a tough time all series. I mean, his off games was still 25, 10, and 10. His good games was 40, 13, and 12, just throwing some numbers out there. But y'all get the point. I don't even want to go down and look at the actual stat sheet and that's just trauma. I'm not trying to do that again. Y'all get the point. Anthony Davis, on the other hand, his good game, 40 and 10, 35 and 15. But his bad game, again, I don't want to go down and look at those stack sheets. I don't want to go down and look at how many times he shot. Because, again, it's not even about him being off. Sometimes it's about his energy and his effort on that side of the basketball that frustrates me the most. And so when I look at this extension, I say, look, Rob Pelinka has had a very good offseason, in my opinion. Yes, as a Laker fan, when you're used to the splash, when you're used to you got AD one year, you got LeBron another year, you got Shaq one year, you got Kareem. You know what I mean? When you're used to getting all these legends in the building, year in, year out, they made a couple years back, they made a trade. Well, not a couple years, a while ago, when Kobe was still playing, they made trades for and signed Steve Nash and Dwight Howard. When you're used to those type of additions and those type of moves in the offseason, as a Laker fan, you kind of get spoiled and you kind of expect those type of moves every single season, especially a season by which you were just in the conference finals. You thinking, okay, one more big move and we in the championship. But I don't mind you bringing everybody back with the key additions that you added this offseason that I've talked about in previous episodes. My only request from Anthony Davis specifically is that not only does he stay healthy, you give us the good Anthony Davis night in, night out. And bad Anthony Davis can't be 15-5. It can't be 10-3. Bad Anthony Davis got to at least get you 22-11, 22-10. Bad Anthony Davis, I should be able to look at and say, okay, he had an off day today, but at least he put the ball up. At least he was aggressive on both sides of the ball. At least he didn't seem like he just wasn't there. I don't want to have to see that anymore. And it's bad because I know I will. And I know it'll frustrate me. But I don't want to have to see that anymore out of Anthony Davis. His future is secure now with the Los Angeles Lakers. We all know he's the guy in town. He's the guy. LeBron probably got one more year in LA before he either retires or he goes to another team and tries to go play with Bronny. If Bronny makes it to the NBA. One more year. After that, LeBron is gone. So Anthony Davis is the guy. Anthony Davis is the centerpiece that you're building around for the foreseeable future. And if he's the centerpiece of your team, of your franchise, you need that piece more than any other piece that you add, because every other piece works around that centerpiece. You need that centerpiece to be as productive and as consistent as possible. You do not need that centerpiece to be on one day and off the next. Aggressive one day and not be aggressive the next. You need that centerpiece to be a leader. You need that centerpiece to be aggressive. You need that centerpiece to ball out on both sides of the ball every single night if possible. It's not too much to ask for. We expected that from Shaquille O'Neal. We expected that from Dwight Howard. We expected that from Kobe Bryant. We expect that from LeBron James. All Laker legends. Well, Dwight's not a Laker legend, but we still expected it from Dwight Howard. We expected it from Pau Gasol. Everybody that's put on the purple and gold, that is the expectation, that you bring it every single night. Because you can't be injury prone. You can't be an injury prone player. And then when you finally not injured, you back on the floor. And it seems like you're still not there. So all I ask from AD, and again, I'm not going on this rant about AD to say I'm not happy about the extension. I'm happy about the extension. When Anthony Davis is Anthony Davis, he's a top 5 player in the NBA. It is hard to find guys better than him in the league on both sides of the basketball. One of the best two-way players, if not the best two-way player in the game today. Can pretty much guard 1 through 5. We saw him clamping up Steph Curry on the last possession. I believe that was game 4, if I'm not mistaken, when they went down 3-1. We saw him clamping down on Triple J. 1 through 5. He could defend it all. All we want from Anthony Davis is that consistency, that top 5 productivity from him at all times. And then again, we know what he could do offensively. We know what he could be offensively. Dunks, mid-range. Stop shooting the 3. Stop shooting the 3. Stop shooting the 3. But we know what he is. Free throw line and down. Mid-range area and down. Elbow and down. Dominant when he wants to be. All we want as Laker fans is that consistent productivity from AD. And if we can get that, the sky is the limit for this Lakers team. The sky is the limit. Even if LeBron James misses some games, you still got guys that can pick up the slack and ball out. We just saw it this past year. We just saw it. The key will be getting into the playoffs again healthy, and the sky's the limit of Anthony Davis with this new team right now. The key will be, can Anthony Davis be dominant? And I guarantee you, if he is, we will be right back where we were, last season in the conference finals, looking to advance to the finals. I see no other teams in the West that improved that drastically that they could just knock us out if AD is playing like AD and LeBron James is healthy. It falls on him. It is on him. And I think this extension, again, shows that. AD, let's go. Let's ball. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. Now, I want to transition over to NFL honors. Let's change this background real quick. Let's see if I could quickly do this for the people that are watching on YouTube really quick. See if I can make this quick. Bada boom, bada bang. I gotta put the link in the background because y'all know what it is. Always gotta rep Philly, even though I'm not from there, but always gotta rep my birds. Always. So I gotta make sure I put the Philadelphia Eagles Stadium, Lincoln Financial Field, in the background when I talk about the NFL, just like the Lakers are in the background when I talk about the NBA. Because that's who I rep. That's who I'm with. Y'all know this by now. If you've been paying attention, you know how this go. I want to get to the NBA, the NFL honors, man, because, and again, I know it's very early. It's very early. And this is obviously not considering the potential of injury, right? Anybody could get hurt on any given day, any given Sunday. Anybody could go down, right? And so I don't want to even think about that when I make these predictions. I just want to think about who's available now. Who do I think will ball out? Who do I think will coach well? What rookies I think will stand out right away? And how I think these awards are going to go, right? First thing I want to start off with, I want to get the hard part out of the way for myself first. I want to get the hard part out of the way first. Offensive Rookie of the Year. As much as it pains me to say this, I'm going to say it. I was a fan of this kid coming out of the draft, and I remain a fan of his now coming into the league in the system that he's in, with the teammates that he's with, even with the quarterback that he has. Jalin Hyatt, I believe, will win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Receiver out of Tennessee that now plays for, yes, you guessed it, yes, you know it, a division rival of the Philadelphia Eagles, New York Giants. I think that he's in a really good situation to succeed. You got Saquon in the backfield. Most of the attention is going to go to Saquon. Him and Daniel Jones are going to continue to run the ball like how they run the ball. That's going to be what it's going to be. You got the coach of the year that's coaching you, that's going to keep you motivated, that's going to keep you engaged, that's going to keep you locked in, and make sure that you're touching the football, I presume. Make sure you're touching the football. They go and they add Waller. So he's going to get a lot of attention too at the tight end spot. So that leaves the outside open. And one thing that we haven't seen from Daniel Jones is him air the ball out like that. We saw a couple games this past year against some of the worst defenses in the league where he finally had good days. He had great days against, the Vikings, who was the second to last defense in the league. He had a great game against Detroit, who was the worst defense in the league this past year. But that was in large part because he didn't have many options to throw the football to. But now this kid, Jalin Hyatt, he can stretch the defense like no other. He's a big, lengthy receiver. He's a deep ball threat. And he's a guy I think is going to help really open some things up for the Giants. I hate to admit it. I hate to be brutally honest about that, but I really think that he has a chance and an opportunity here to be the Offensive Rookie of the Year. There's a lot of other guys you could throw in there. JSN, I think he's going to have an opportunity, but I don't know if he's going to get the same amount of touches as a guy like Jalin Hyatt. And he'd probably be like my second choice for the award. But just looking at it on its head right now, how I see it, unless you give it to a quarterback, and we know how that goes, right? We know how that goes. They like to give all the awards to the quarterbacks, but I didn't want to pick a quarterback for this award. I just didn't. We just seen Garrett Wilson win the award last year, so I'm hoping that it stays that way at least for this next year. Give it to a position outside of the quarterback position. I think Bryce Young is going to be solid. I think Stroud is going to be solid as well, but I think Jalin Hyatt might come out and be 1,000-yard receiver. I said it. I think Jalin Hyatt might come out and get 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns. I just gotta call a spade a spade. He might have us looking at Daniel Jones a little bit differently. I'm a fan of his. And I'm not ashamed to admit it. I wish that I thought he was going to get drafted by a couple of other teams, you know, working for ESPN out here, working for Score North. I said the Vikings should look at drafting him, you know, but they ended up going with the receiver out of USC instead. Not too mad about that decision. I think Jordan Addison has a chance too, but he's playing alongside Justin Jefferson. I don't know if he's really going to be in competition for the award, even though I think he's going to be a really good number 2. Is he really going to be in that much of a competition for the award? You got Hockenson there to throw the football to. You got KJ Osborne to throw the ball to. Obviously, you know, you got the running game there. I believe in Alexander Mattison as their new RB1. Again, Justin. So it's like he's going to get his touches, but I think Jalin Hyatt has the potential to have this offense run around him when it's time to throw the football. He has that type of potential. Waller's going to get his touches. Saquon's going to get his touches. But when it's time to stretch the defense out, Jalin Hyatt's going to be a threat. And I think he's going to catch a lot of people off guard because he's a young rook. He's a young rookie. He's going to catch a lot of people off guard. Not a guy that a lot of people talking about, but the man is fast, has great hands. Again, big receiver, touchdown threat, red zone threat. Man, I'm telling you, watch out for Jalin Hyatt this upcoming season with the New York Giants. Defensive Rookie of the Year. It was hard giving the Offensive Rookie of the Year to Jalin Hyatt. It's easy giving this one out, though. Defensive Rookie of the Year, I think it's going to be Jalen Carter. Yes, I think it's going to be Jalen Carter of the Philadelphia Eagles. Listen, great defenders got drafted this year. It was some great defenders that got drafted this year, but I don't want to focus on them. I want to talk about Jalen Carter, because before all the off the field stuff happened with Jalen Carter was probably the most dominant defensive player, maybe the most dominant player in all of college football this past year. He just was. He was an absolute monster. And now coming into a system where you already have guys on the defensive line that offensive lines have to worry about. You got to worry about Hassan Reddick. You got to worry about Josh Sweat. You got to worry about Fletcher Cox. You got to worry about Jordan Davis coming into a second season. It opens the door for him to come in and wreak havoc. Now, my only question for him is the coaching staff. Are we going to get him on the field week 1 and give him a real opportunity to go after this award? Because there are other players at the position on that defensive line. You know, can't forget about Milton Williams. There are other players on the defensive line that can fill in that spot. And he don't get as many reps as he needs to get in order to win this award. But I have faith in the defensive coordinator and this team that they will get the best talent on the field and give the best talent an opportunity to make plays consistently. And I believe Jalen Carter is going to come in and make an immediate impact. Now, again, I'm not going to put those expectations on him. A lot of people try to compare him to some of the best defensive line or defensive tackles, you know, defensive interior guys that have ever played the game. I'm not doing that yet. What I am saying, though, is he's got all of the physicals. He's got all of the talent to be that. And I think if there's any system to be that in, it will be the system with the Philadelphia Eagles. Playing alongside other Georgia Bulldogs that are going to help motivate you, inspire you, and the chemistry is going to be there automatically. I like Jalen Carter to win this award. I like Jalen Carter to win this award. I think he's got a really, really, really good shot. And again, yes, could be some bias in there, right? Could be some bias in there. I understand. AJ, or some of you know me as AJ, others know me as artist. I'll just say AJ for now. AJ, I knew you would pick him. You're an Eagles fan. What do you expect? Look, if Jalen Carter was on any other team, not named the Philadelphia Eagles, people will be talking about him more. But it's the fact that he was drafted to a team that was already loaded with defensive line talent. We don't want to talk about him, especially the division rivals. And I understand why they don't. But just in general, if he was drafted to another team, say the Falcons drafted him, that doesn't change my pick. As a matter of fact, it enhances my pick. Say he isn't drafted to the Falcons and he's drafted to the Houston Texans. That doesn't change my pick. That enhances my pick. That makes me believe in the pick even more. That he's drafted to a team that, doesn't necessarily, or that he's drafted to a team that needs the help more than Philadelphia needs the help on that defensive line. And a legitimate argument could be made Philadelphia needs the help because Hargrave just went out the door. Now, I believe we have good replacements for him outside of Jalen Carter, but him going to any other team in that top 10, top 15 would make his case even stronger. So, of course, maybe a little bias in there, but it's mainly, I think he a dog. I think he a monster. And I think given the opportunities that I believe he will have, I think he's going to be right there. I think he's going to be right there, man. Will Anderson is a guy that I'm sure will have a pretty good season. Devin Witherspoon, I'm not sure if the contract situation is situated just yet. He'll have an opportunity as well. I'm sure he'll be very solid. There's guys out there. Tyree Wilson. There's guys out there. But are any of these guys better than Jalen Carter? I don't see it, bro. I do not see it. And last thing I'll say about this before I move on to the next award, all the national televised games the Philadelphia Eagles have. The Philadelphia Eagles just went to the Super Bowl, and they're going to get more exposure than they probably have since the year they won the Super Bowl in, 2017. Everybody's looking at them this year. They have that bullseye and that arrow on their back. Everybody's watching. So he's getting that national attention at all times. If he's balling out, you're going to hear about it. You're going to know about it because the Eagles will be a team that everybody's looking out for to see, can they do what they just did last year? Are they going to be the next team that is a team that's constantly in the playoffs competing to go to Super Bowls? And if that's the case, that helps your case. That helps your case, especially if you're a rookie that comes on and balls out right away. That's going to help your case. We're placing a guy like Hargrave. That is going to help your case. So I believe in Jalen Carter. I think he's going to win this award. Offensive Player of the Year. For this award, I'm going to rock with none other than a Cheetah. I'm going to rock with nobody else, none other than a Cheetah. I think he has a chance to do some special things this upcoming season. Now, a lot of this is predicated on Tua being healthy. Can Tua give me a full season or not even a full season? Can he give me 14 games? Can he give me 15 games? Because last season, Tua was balling out before he started to get those concussions. Tua was looking like one of the best guys in the league. I won't rank him, but he was looking like, he had an opportunity to make some noise. He was balling out. The Dolphins were balling out. And then Tua started to get those concussions and numbers started to fall. But even through it all, Cheetah, Tyreek Hill, 1,700 yards, 7 touchdowns, 14 yards per catch. Imagine now Tua being able to play most games. He's already come out and said he wants to get at 2,000 yards. He's already come out and said before it's all said and done, I'm going to get 2,000 yards. And I'm not going to be the one to doubt that. I'm not going to be the one to doubt that. I think he has nothing but potential to eclipse that goal of his, to achieve and eclipse that goal of his. In that offense, a pass happy offense, speed all around the board, all around that offense. Him being the unguardable player. He is literally unguardable, people. He is unguardable. There is nothing you could do with Tyreek Hill. You just gotta hope Tyreek Hill is having an off day. There's nothing you could do. You try to run the zone, he's gonna find the holes in your zone, catch the ball, and expose you. You try to play man-to-man defense, he's gonna burn whoever you have out there trying to guard him. He's gonna leave him. He's gonna burn him. He's gonna burn him. You try to give your corner safety help over the top, try to keep the guy in front of you, and what's gonna happen? He's gonna catch the ball in front of you, and then you got to worry about the yards after the catch. Because he's gonna catch the ball and make something happen. He's impossible to catch. I said it all this as well on my page at AJ2K, A as in apple, J as in juice, A as in alphabet, E as in eat, the number 2, the letter K as in kite. As I went down my top 5 receiver ratings, and I would go into detail about those if I wasn't about to be on another podcast explaining why my rankings are what they are. But for the sake of this conversation right here, I got Tyreek Hill at number 2, and I broke all this down there too. The man's unguardable. There's nothing that you could do with him. Again, you got to hope he's off. And when you have that type of skill set, the route running, the speed, the hands, the intangibles, the mindset that I want to be great, he came out and said, look, what I did with the Chiefs, it was great. I want my jersey retired here. I want to be known for what I do here. He did some special things with the Chiefs. Special things. He had, 4,000-yard seasons with the Chiefs? One year he had, 1,400 yards, 12 touchdowns. Another year he had 1,200 yards, close to 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns. Another year he had over 1,200 yards, 9 touchdowns. He did some special things with Kansas City. But you see what he mean when he say, I want to be known for what I do in Miami. Because, again, last year he gave you 1,700 yards with 7 touchdowns. That's absurd. It is absurd. Because the man is unguardable. And keep in mind, Tua missed, 5 games this past season? And probably missed more time than that because he got hurt in some games and couldn't finish some games. So really, Tua probably played a full 11 games. Probably played a full 11 games this past season. And you still got 1,700 yards out of Tyreek Hill and 7 touchdowns. So I don't see anything stopping him from getting this award. I look at Justin Jefferson, the guy who won the Offensive Player of the Year award this past year. And he got this award because of how much he means to the Vikings, because the Vikings go as Justin Jefferson goes. Let's just be clear. They go as he go. They win games because of that offense. And it ain't got nothing to do with the defense. The defense is one of the worst defenses in the league. Hopefully it gets better this year. He went out there and got you 1,800 yards and 8 touchdowns. That's the reason why I believe he's the best in the game. On top of all the records and everything he surpassed. But again, conversation for another day. Those numbers is what got him that award. And how much he means to that team is what got him that award this past season. I think Tyreek Hill can do that. If he goes for 2,000 yards, there is no denying him of this award. There is no other player that you can give this award to. And again, I'm not a fan of giving it to a quarterback because a quarterback is going to win MVP, and we all know it. We all know it. Unless we see some crazy year out of one of the running backs, maybe Bijan comes out and just goes absolutely crazy, but then he'd be the offensive rookie of the year. He wouldn't even be, I don't think he would win the offensive player of the year. Unless Saquon come out or one of these other great backs, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, unless these guys come out and just have dominant seasons, which is possible, but unless they have over the top dominant seasons, like they rushing for close to 2,000, if you see a receiver like Tyreek Hill go for 2,000 yards and let's just say 7-8 touchdowns, because he's going to get in the end zone too, he's going to be hard to deny that award. And again, I will not be the guy that doubts that Tyreek Hill can make that happen. It won't be me. It won't be me. So I'm going with Tyreek Hill to win that award. Let's go over to Coach of the Year. Now, I may pronounce this wrong, so please excuse me if I do. Robert Saleh, coach for the New York Jets. He's gonna win. He's gonna win Coach of the Year this year because we will see the Jets ball out this upcoming season. We'll see them ball out this upcoming season. We know adding Aaron Rodgers, what that does for your team. We know what that does for your team. The Jets are already a team that last year we knew needed a quarterback. One quarterback away. Defense is dominant. Run game is dominant so long as Hall is back and healthy again. You got some solid receivers. Garrett Wilson is on the come up. All they need is a quarterback. And you go out there and you add Aaron Rodgers. I predict this team will go from the worst team this past year in their division to the best team in their division. Last year, and it stuns me that they were this bad, actually. Last year, they ended up 7-10. Last year, the team was 7-10. This upcoming season, I believe that football team will probably win somewhere around 12, 13 games with the leadership of Aaron Rodgers throwing the football, adding Alan Lazard, adding a Randall Cobb, already having Garrett Wilson, getting Breece Hall back and healthy, potentially, maybe going to getting Dalvin Cook, who is still a free agent that is looking to potentially go and play for the New York Jets. And then again, that defense, headlined by Sauce Gardner, I mean, what can you say? They get to the passer. They deflect passes. They block passes down at the line of scrimmage. They turn the ball over. They hit, and they hit hard. They tackle, gang tackle. They wrap up. They are an elite defense that I believe will be even better this upcoming season because they have Aaron Rodgers on the other end. And we all know a defense is going to play even better when they know their offense has a shot. Some people may agree with this philosophy, some don't. But I always felt like if your defense knows, if they know that on the other side of the ball, we got a guy that can go out there and win us a football game by himself, that adds extra fuel to the fire for the defense. The defense extra excited to get them sacks. The defense is extra excited to get those turnovers. The defense is extra excited to deflect those passes and give opposing offenses a hard time. Extra excited. On top of everything, when you have an elite quarterback on the opposite end, on the opposite side of the football, it allows your defense to rest as well. Aaron Rodgers can control time of possession, run the football, milk some clock, extend drive after drive after drive, and keep the defense off the field, keep them rested so that when they come back, they're fresh. Being able to get stops and then make the opposing defense not fresh because they back on the field. I think Robert is already a really good coach. I think he did really well with what he had at his disposal this past year. I think now you add Aaron Rodgers to the fold, and I think they take a whole other step this upcoming season. I said it before, and I'm saying it again. I believe they win the division. I believe they win the AFC North or the AFC East this upcoming season. I believe they do it. And I believe if that happens, if they go from the worst team in the division to the best team in the division, winning 12, 13 games, or even above, possibly, maybe, I don't know. I'd have to go down their schedule and literally say win, loss, win, loss. But if they can win 12, 13 games or above, there's no doubt in my mind he should be coach of the year. I don't see any other team in the NFL going from worst to best in their division. Not a single team. In the AFC, you got the Jets, who I just spoke about. The Broncos going to be good, but best or worst to best, I don't see it. The Browns, they'll be better, but worst to best, I don't see it. The Texans, they'll win a couple more games with Stroud, but no, I don't see it. The Commanders in the NFC East, no, not happening. The Cardinals, don't make me laugh. The Bears, now the Bears have a shot too. Remember, I said the Bears was going to win the NFC North this upcoming season. So, okay, forgot about the Bears a little bit. But I still favor Robert Saleh because I think the Jets will be a little bit better than the Bears, and I think the NFC North will be a little bit more competitive. I think the Jets win more games than the Bears do, but that's a good one though. Almost caught me slipping, people. Almost caught me slipping because I do think they go from worst to best. So I will, take my L there. Take my L there. But I still give it to Robert Saleh, like I said. And then you got the Falcons. Again, don't make me laugh. I like what they did in the offseason, but no. It's not happening. It's not happening. Here's another one that's going to make me uncomfortable. The more I think about it, the more I lean towards this player to win Defensive Player of the Year. I think, I don't even want to say it. People, I don't even want to say it. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it. And for the people that know me, you know why I don't want to say this. You know why I don't want to say this. I'm going to say it anyway. Oh, man. Cowboy fans, I got Micah Parsons winning Defensive Player of the Year this upcoming season. I'll say it again. Cowboy fans, I believe Micah Parsons will win Defensive Player of the Year this season. Now, that doesn't mean you'll advance past the divisional round of the postseason all of a sudden. Let's not get carried away. That does not mean you guys will win the NFC East. Let's not get carried away. Let's not get carried away. But I do think he's going to have a dominant season. When I look at the Dallas Cowboys and the way that they are built, they go as their defense goes. When Dak Prescott missed all that time this past season, who kept them afloat? That defense. Micah Parsons. Lawrence on the defensive line. That's what kept them afloat. Trayvon Diggs. That's what kept them afloat, is the defense. Yes, Coop came in there. He did well. Cooper Rush came in there. He did well. He did what needed to be done, and they ran the ball effectively. But who really went out there and made the stops? Who went out there and was limiting teams to under 17 points a game? That was that Dallas Cowboy defense. That was that Cowboy defense. And I believe that they have an opportunity to do the same exact thing this year. And now you add Stephon Gilmore to that defense. And I bring this up almost every time I talk about Dallas because I understand, even though I can't stand them guys over there in Dallas, I understand how huge that is for your defense. You can't just drop back and look to the opposite side of where Diggs isn't at anymore. You can't. Because Stephon Gilmore is still a top 10 corner in the league. And Diggs is a top 10 corner in the league. But we all saw how teams would just target the opposite side of the field. Wherever Diggs is, we're going to throw the ball over here. And then every now and then we'll catch Diggs slipping on a double move. Every now and then we'll catch him slipping on a double move. Every now and then we'll catch him when he bored, when he tired of just sitting in one spot, when he tired of not getting targeted. We'll throw at him then. Can't do that this season. And so quarterbacks are going to be back in that pocket, patting that football. Pat. Patting that football because they don't have anywhere to throw the football. They don't have anywhere to throw it. And that's going to give Micah Parsons even more time to get to the passer and get sacks, get stops, be able to get in the backfield, hit running backs for tackles for loss. Last 2 seasons, 13 sacks, at least 13 sacks out of him. And we all know that third season is where most young players start to really, really blow up. He coming into that third season. I think Micah is going to have a great season. He's been talking real big this offseason, talking real big. They the best team in the NFC. He wants to be in the Hall of Fame, not just a name. He want to be one of the best names in the Hall of Fame. I want to be a Hall of Fame legend, whatever he said. He's been talking real big. And as much as I can't stand the talk, I can't deny the talent. The man is talented. And I think he has a great chance at winning this award. Now, again, I want to emphasize this one last time. That does not mean y'all get out of the divisional round. It's still not happening. That does not mean you win the division. It's still not happening. But what it does mean is what we already know. Micah Parsons is a stud. He's a dog. And I think he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Not to mention the same thing I brought up about Philadelphia. Dallas Cowboys are always under the microscope. Everybody always looking at Dallas. Everybody always looking to give Dallas something too. So he's going to be in prime position. Prime time football at all times. They always on TV. He's going to be in prime position in front of the whole world to make things happen. And much like the Philadelphia Eagles, they have one of the toughest schedules in the league. They play a lot of elite quarterbacks this year. So if they can win games off the back of their defense, it will probably be because Micah Parsons was in the backfield making things happen. So that's why I think ultimately he'll win defensive player of the year. I give it to you, Cowboy fans. I give you that one. Just like I gave the Giants offensive rookie of the year. I'm objective. But then when it comes to the MVP, it's time to put that Eagle hat right back on because y'all know where I am going with this one right here. Jalen Hurts. Big Hurts is going to win league MVP this year. Now, remember, I am the same guy this past season that told you Jalen Hurts was going to throw for over 4,000 yards. Only reason why he didn't is because he got hurt. He had, 3,700? Only reason why he didn't get that far because he got hurt. We all know this. I'm the same guy who told you he was going to have an MVP caliber season, and he did. I'm the same guy who told you he was going to throw more touchdowns this year, and he did. I'm the same guy who predicted that Jalen Hurts will have an impressive sophomore season in terms of being a starter. We know he's been in the league a little longer than that, but in terms of being a starter sophomore season, I'm the one who came out and said that from the jump before the season even got started. And I had that feeling before A.J. Brown was even added. You give Jalen Hurts another opportunity in this system. You still have A.J. Brown. You still have Devontae Smith. You still have Quez Watkins, who will be better this upcoming season. You still have that offensive line. And I believe this season, the only thing that could potentially hold him back from winning this MVP award is him staying healthy. It is the only thing that held him back from winning the award this past year. It's the only thing that held him back from winning the award this past year. Health. I believe Jalen Hurts stays healthy this year because he understands how important it is for him to stay healthy for this football team. I believe new offensive coordinator makes sure he has real check down options. And now when you add a guy like Swift in the backfield who you could dump the ball to, a guy that could catch the ball out of the backfield and make things happen, I think that opens up a whole new world for Jalen Hurts. So you got weapons on the outside. How could I forget about Dallas Goedert? You got a weapon in the middle of the field with your tight end, Dallas Goedert. You got weapons in the backfield. You got the best offensive line in the game. You got your own skill. You could run, you could throw, you could think, as he said. I don't think there's anything stopping Big Hurts, Jalen Hurts, from winning MVP this year. I will put this out here now. Jalen Hurts will throw over 30 touchdown passes this season. Jalen Hurts will have over 4,000 passing yards this season. He will at least be top 5 in completion percentage. Again, top 5 in touchdown to interception ratio. Top 5 in QBR, QB rating. All those type of metrics, he will be top 5 in. Might not be top 5 when it comes to passing yards because he's also going to run for quite a bit too. He's probably going to have somewhere around, I'd say, you throw about 30 touchdown passes, 31 touchdown passes. I say he don't rush for 10 touchdowns this year. I say he rushes for maybe 7, 8 touchdowns this year instead and still gets you anywhere between 500 to 700 rushing yards as well. And at that point, it will be undeniable for him to win MVP because if he plays that well, the Philadelphia Eagles will have 13, 14 wins again. And this year, it is with the toughest schedule in the NFL. With the toughest schedule in the NFL, similar to what Patrick Mahomes just did. Balled out against the toughest schedule in the NFL. So I believe Jalen Hurts comes out on top this season as your league MVP. Call it bias. Call me what you want to call me. It's what I believe. And when it comes to Philadelphia, I haven't steered you guys wrong yet. I was wrong about the Super Bowl. I mean, your team make it to the Super Bowl, you're gonna pick you're gonna pick your team. I mean, any real sports fan, your team makes it to the Super Bowl or makes it to the NBA Finals, you're good. There's no way in heck you pick against your team. And if you do, you're probably not a real fan. I'm just calling a spade a spade. And they had the game won, damn it. They had the game won. But that's a conversation for another day. The point is this. Jalen Hurts is right up there with the Josh Allens, right up there with the Mahomes, right up there with what I believe will be the Lamar Jackson as well. Right up there with the best quarterbacks in the league when it comes to his potential to win MVP this upcoming season. Given everything he has around him, I see him getting it done and winning MVP. So there you have it. NFL honors coming into this 2023 NFL season. Jalen Hurts, MVP. Defensive Player of the Year, Micah Parsons. Coach of the Year, Robert Saleh. Again, if I pronounce your name wrong, I am so sorry. Offensive Player of the Year, Tyreek Hill. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Jalen Carter. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee. That is how I see it. And when these things come true, people, remember where you heard it. Full timeout from your boy AJ2K, your favorite sports podcast. Remember where you heard these things. If you put your money on these things, I need something back. I need at least 25% of what you make. At least 25, 30, somewhere around in there. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere around in there. Somewhere around in there. And if you don't make no money, if I'm wrong, don't even look for me. I won't be available. I will not be available. If you put your money down on my picks and it don't work, AJ will not be available. But he will be available if you put your money down and it works out. Okay? I need it. All right? Now, before we wrap up today's show, I don't think I'm going to be able to get to boxing. And I'll probably say that for the next episode because, I'm airing out pretty much all of my NFL content right now. I cannot contain myself. I want to get it all out. I want to talk about it all. I got to talk about the NFL's top 100 list to end the show. I said this on the Taxi Squad podcast, and I'm going to say it again on this podcast for you guys that are watching on YouTube and you guys that are listening over the airways. Shout out to the Block 105. If another player comes out and tells an analyst who's not trolling, an analyst that's giving you real facts you might not agree with, but real facts. If he comes out and he tells that analyst he don't know what he's talking about because he ain't never played the sport, I will immediately be discrediting everything else that comes out of his mouth. Because at the end of the day, you don't have to play the sport to know about the sport. That's just the facts. You don't have to. You could spend years watching the sport. You could spend years studying the sport. You might not know exactly as much as a player does, but you could learn a good amount just by watching and studying the sport. And most of these analysts that are not trolling, because there are some trolls out here as analysts, and I do agree. There are some that just be capping and doing too much and putting out clickbait. But for the people that actually analyze this, break this down, really talk about it, they don't deserve that. Especially when the players have an opportunity to drop a top 100 list, and their 100 list is so god awful, so putrid. It makes me believe that somebody who just watched the sport, maybe even last year, I can't even say, or maybe even the year before, I can't even say last year because it don't even match last year's production for real. Somebody who just started watching the sport in maybe 2021 and didn't watch half of the 2022 season. I don't know. Looking at this list, how the hell can a player be an all-pro? It don't matter if it's first team or second team. How can you be an all-pro player and not a top 100 player? How can you be an all-pro player, but you're not one of the 100 best players in the league? Make it make sense. Clarify that for me, people. Players. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. But that don't make no sense. That makes no sense. How is it that St. Brown, Amon St. Brown from the Detroit Lions, can have less yards, less touchdowns, on more receptions than Devontae Smith, but St. Brown can be 67 and Devontae Smith can be number 100? Amon St. Brown hasn't had a single season better than Devontae Smith yet, his entire career. Season by season. If you match it up season by season, he hasn't been better than Devontae Smith at any point in his career so far. And it's been a short career so far. He hasn't been better at all. Somehow he's 67 and Devontae Smith is 100. How is it that Dak Prescott could lead the league in interceptions while missing 5 games? People, that is a NFL record. It's never been done. We've never seen a quarterback miss 5 games and still find a way to lead the league in interceptions. How is it that player can be number 56 on a top 100 list, but again, an all-pro player can't be top 100? You got a guy like Trevor Lawrence all the way at 96. How is it that Zach Martin, a guy who is one of the best offensive lines in the league, you could make the argument he's at least a top 5. You could make an argument he's the best offensive lineman in the league. You can make that argument. 99 overall on Madden. They making an argument. How is it that he could be 68 on a top 100 list? He ain't even in the top 30, but he may be the best at his position. Aaron Rodgers is better than, or Kirk Cousins is better than Aaron Rodgers. That's what they tell me, because Kirk Cousins is rated higher than Aaron Rodgers right now. Come on, yo. And I understand what people going to say. It's bias, it's favoritism, all of that is fine. All of that is cool. But us analysts don't get that pass on. We have bias towards certain players and we have bias towards certain teams. We get told we don't know what the hell we're talking about because we ain't never played the sport. So I'm not giving y'all that excuse either. This is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. It makes you look bad. Let's just call a spade a spade. It makes you look bad. Not denying the pedigree that you have by playing a sport that most of us ain't brave enough to play. But even somebody who just watched this past year can tell you ain't no way Zach Martin should be 60. What was it? 68. Ain't no way Devontae Smith should be number 100. Wasn't my man top 10 in receiving yards? I gotta double check them numbers again. He might have been top 10 in touchdowns too. I gotta double check them numbers again. The only good thing about this list so far I could think of is my dog Big Hurts ain't been mentioned yet. That's the only thing I could think of. At least they got my boy rated in the top 10. But they got guys like Lane Johnson at number 41. They think is close to 50 players better. 60. They think, what is that, 59 to do the exact math? They think it's 59 players in the league. Come on, man. Come on, man. Or 40. My bad. 40. 40 players in the league better than Lane? Come on, bro. Hassan Reddick back to back. I think it's either back to back or his third year in a row with double digit sacks. Did you see what he did in the postseason? He single-handedly won the NFC Championship game. Number 48. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. I'm not just showing the Eagles love here. What about Patrick Surtain? How is he 49 but Sauce Gardner 23? And I think Sauce is a little. I don't know if Sauce is better than Surtain. I'm not sure. I'm not confident in that just yet. He only been in the league 1 year. 23. All I'm saying is, bro, if you're going to have this stance that analysts don't know what the hell they're talking about, when you get an opportunity to talk. It makes sense. That's all I say. That's all I ask players. Much love and respect. But don't tell me we don't know what we talking about when y'all doing stuff like this. Call it favoritism. Call it whatever you want. If that's what we playing the favoritism game, we could all show a lot of favoritism. Simple as that. Thank you all for tuning in to today's episode of Full Timeout. Again, you can find all of my content. AJ2K, that's Instagram, that's TikTok, that's Twitter, that's everything pretty much. A as in apple, J as in juice, A as in alphabet, E as in eat, the number 2, the letter K as in kite. I'm doing top 5 lists on my IG and on all platforms right now. Receivers, quarterbacks. I haven't figured out if I'll move on to corners or running backs next, but it's coming either way. Thank you all for tuning in. I will catch y'all on the next episode of Full Timeout.